Words. There are so many words to choose from. Sometimes we choose them thoughtfully, and sometimes not so much. But whatever words we choose to use, whether we say them out loud or just to ourselves, they kind of matter. They prompt pictures in our head. It elicits emotion that influences how we think, what we feel, and how we experience the world. And I'm sure there's great research that supports this, but I'd like to just test it out with you here today. So let's start with this word, busy. As in the typical answer to the question, how's your day? And I have to admit, I am one of the worst at using this word. I'd like to stop using this word because when I say it, I think of other words like unavailable, overloaded, swamped, buried, and then I actually feel kind of buried in this kind of anxiety, like I don't have control over my own life. So what would be a good alternative? Well, how about productive? Productive feels immediately more constructive, right? You think about engaging work that's meaningful, valuable, maybe even profitable. Okay, how about this word? Disaster. As in what you might think to yourself when you show up to that company party and you're wearing the exact same dress as your boss. Yeah, might have happened. But unless that resulted in somebody actually dying, it probably wasn't a disaster. But we say disaster, and we internalize disaster, and then suddenly we've sent our bodies into this fight or flight mode. And for what? So could we downgrade that word and come up with something else? Maybe something like awkward. We could survive awkward, right? Awkward makes up the great stuff and the stories we're going to tell our grandkids someday. Okay, last word, balance. It's a good word, right? Kind of an ideal state. I train personal training clients on the side of the gym, and it's a skill that we work really hard on. I also think when I think of balance, the kids at the park on their slack lines, I think of circus performers on tight ropes, and in all these cases, I realize how much concentration and focus and effort it takes to achieve that balance. And while I think that's a great trade-off when you're talking about developing a skill that might keep you from being injured, or when you're trying to master a circus act, what about in the case of this kind of balance? The balance between work and life. For some of us, that balance feels like we are on that tightrope, right? Teetering in the middle, just worried about the slightest misstep, we're going to be tossed to one side and be complete failures. If we just answer one too many personal phone calls at work, or we check that email too much at home, we're somehow disrupting that fragile balance and forfeiting our happiness forever. So it seems like a great goal, this work-life balance, but it kind of suggests that we're putting work on one side, life on the other, and pitting them against each other as though they're enemies. So I kind of wonder, is it this word balance and this effort to achieve it that's actually causing some of the feeling of being out of balance in the first place? What if we took a page from the life of my grandfather, or someone like him? My grandfather was a sheep herder here in western Colorado, and to be honest, it wasn't until I was an adult that I actually realized that my grandpa worked. I would go visit, and of course sometimes he'd be out in the field tending to a bunt lamb or shearing the sheep, but other times I would show up and he would be snoozing away in his easy chair, snoring really loudly, having a nap in the middle of the afternoon. I just saw my grandpa as doing his life, right? And I think if he were alive today, he would say the same thing. Because his work, it was integral to the meaning of his life that gave him purpose. But his connection with his family, his friends, and his community, and by golly, those naps, those were integral to his work and doing his best. And so while we aren't tending to sheep, we might be clocking in and clocking out in our jobs, I think that our personal lives and our work lives, they overlap more than we realize. If you think about it, we are always going back and forth with the same human needs. And I love this quote by Laura Ingalls Wilder. It is the simple things in life that make living worthwhile. The sweet fundamental things such as love and duty, work and rest, and living close to nature. So these things that we're trying so hard to balance, what this says to me is that they're really sides of the same coin. Love without duty or responsibility or any obligation is just kind of empty, right? But duty without love feels really lonely. You look at just work, and if that's all we did, we'd be exhausted. But just rest, that leads to feelings of being lethargic. Once you bring them together, that is where we start to perform at our peak and at our best. There's some great research around this idea of cognitive role transition. Yeah, let's break this down a little bit. So cognitive, as in your mind, how you think about things. Role, as in the different hats that we wear in our work and in our personal lives. And then transition, how we flip back and forth between those hats during the day. Well, what's interesting about the research is that they've shown it's really difficult for us to transition between roles when those roles are highly segmented. So while we think that it might be a good thing to be good at compartmentalizing work and our personal lives, what the research shows is that we're actually less productive because we use up a lot of energy. It's as though we're stowing our work hat at the top of a 10-story building, and we've got our personal life hat down at the bottom, and we're at work and we're really focused, but then we think of something about home life, like Johnny forgot his homework, and so we have to run down all 10 flights of stairs, put that hat on, and say to ourselves, okay, got that, and I run back upstairs, put my work back hat back on to focus. That's exhausting. But when our roles are more fluid, it's like we've got our hats just sitting there on the table in front of us, and we just flip back and forth when we need to, and we're good to go. It may seem like that might be less productive because we do make more of those role transitions more frequently, but in fact, because we're using less cognitive resources to do it, we're actually more energetic and productive. So how do we remove these rigid barriers between work and life so that we can start to see them as how they weave together? I think one of the things that we can do is recognize first and foremost that technology has already sort of helped us infiltrate work into our lives. And so the opportunity we have here is to see how we can bring more of the stuff of life into our workspaces. Because if you look at what we have as human beings, we have three main purposes and needs. We have connection, purpose, and well-being. These things aren't just for our personal lives. So how can we bring them into our workspaces? So purpose. Do you understand fully how your work is contributing to the overall mission of your business or your organization? And if you don't understand, or if you're not sure, are you having those conversations so that you can feel really confident that your contributions matter? Connection. It's okay to have friends at work. Those connections are meaningful. So we have those team building activities, and I know we roll our eyes every time our boss suggests that we do one, but they're really good because they're meeting a need. We can also bring back some of those old-fashioned things, like picnics and holiday parties, because those help us meet a human need while we're at work. And then well-being. Why do we relegate our physical and mental health to just the spaces of our personal lives when everything about our well-being impacts how well we can perform our work? It's time that we actually think about ways that we can promote well-being, embed it into our culture, so that employees are empowered to make healthier choices when they're at work. And that as we do that, we can start to get rid of this idea of balance, because now we see how it's all connected. And if we get rid of that word, I think another word we can replace it with is integration. Because integration is connection, right? Integration creates that sense of flow. And it also acknowledges the reality that in our modern world, we don't really have rigid lines between work and life anymore. So I think it's time that we trade our tightropes in for something different, something more integrated. And I'd like to suggest that we think about it in terms of a beautiful piece of music. This musical score that has highs and lows, that incorporates our personal pursuits and our professional pursuits into one beautiful piece of music that we can, instead of struggle to balance on, we can just dance along with and enjoy this beautifully integrated life.